Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another update. Well, the situation here on our planet continues to escalate, and it's getting to the point where the galactics are saying that they had enough, and so regardless of what's happening right now, the human the human governments of this planet continue to do what they do. Now, before I get into the presentation, and this is actually a message from Commander Valiant Thor for those that are just tuning on, as well as, am I even on? Yes, I am. I just want to make sure it's not showing I'm live. Am I live? Can you guys give me a thumbs up? All right, I'm live. All right, so this is a special update, guys, because um, again, we're living in the most prophetic times ever. And many call it biblical times, unprecedented times. And so we have to understand what's happening right now. And we also have to realize that it's not really what we see in the media. A lot of that is being legitimately or deliberately, what's the word I'm looking for? Um, anyways, all right. Let me just take a deep breath. I didn't even do an introduction. Welcome to another live. My name is Ishmael Perez. For those that don't know me, I'm the author of those two amazing books, The Secret Government and, of course, Our Cosmic Origin, both which are restoring vital information in preparation for the ascension of planet Earth. I've been working a lot today, guys. I've been doing so much, but I still feel like I need to give you guys a report. So excuse me if I am not at 100% regarding my energy levels, but I'm going to do my best to share with you guys um, exactly what's happening right now with the war in Iran. Okay. Um, I also wanted to remind you guys that I do have a few spots left for all four of my classes. We have 3 levels Ascension courses that I teach: basics, intermediate, and advanced. And then my groundbreaking class, our Cosmic Origin. The last day to sign up, I believe, is Friday, if not tomorrow night, Friday. So make sure you guys sign up before they close so that I could see you guys on an interactive webinar either this coming Saturday or Sunday. Okay. So other than that, what else? Oh, yeah, I'm going to be speaking at the Rise of the Guardians conference this coming May, the 8th, 9th, and 10th. However, I take the stage on the 9th, on the Saturday, at exactly 4:25 p.m. Pacific time. For those that are attending, please make sure you guys get your ticket through my link so that I could get credit for that. And yes, I will be having a booth there and books for those that want to get a signed book with a picture with me. Make sure you guys come in person here at the Performing Arts Center in Sedona. One last thing, the folium. Folium, guys, is the holistic way of getting rid of nanotech and all of the different metals that they keep spraying us with. It's all over our foods. It's all over the air, everything we eat. So this is a body detox of metals radiation. And when there are no metals or radiation, there are no parasites, so that the natural healing process of your body takes place. The links are always in the description. And of course, I always pin it in the comments. All right. So now I can get right to the topic. So, Commander Valiant Thor says, people of the Earth, the critical threshold has been reached once again. In accordance with Galactic Law and the preservation protocols established by the Interstellar Councils, we have intervened. Okay? And that's what happened because Trump was getting ready to annihilate, as he said in his own words, destroy an entire civilization as of last night. Okay? But there was a ceasefire. And apparently they're not respecting the ceasefire. And so this is the reason why the Galactics had to intervene. Now, in a little bit, I'm going to explain how they are able to influence the minds of certain humans on the planet, especially within government sectors, to achieve certain means. It is also important to understand that Commander Valiant Thor says that all nuclear arsenals across our planet have been neutralized for not the first time, second time, but for the third time. Okay. Their activation capabilities have been rendered inoperable. So we don't have to worry about nukes, first and foremost. This action has been taken as an act of protecting our planet. Okay. There will be no escalation towards the destruction under the watch of the Galactic Alliance. Certain factions have moved dangerously close to initiating irreversible events, and apparently that timeline has been canceled and closed despite their disrespect of the ceasefire. Well, be advised that our world is destined to ascend, okay? The Galactics will not allow for the conflict in Iran to escalate. Commander Valiant Thor says that along in collaboration with other commanders within the Ashtar Command and those that are part of the Jupiter Command, Commander Corindor, who's at the head of the Jupiter Command, have stated that within our solar system, there has been temporary strategic oversight of key weapon systems in order to ensure that no further attempts toward mass destruction can succeed. Well, this measure is both prevented and transitional. And humanity does stand at a crossroad once again, all right, at a crossroad of revelations, disclosures. So, within certain advanced cosmic clearance levels, and I'm talking about the positive SSP program and those that are at the highest echelons of the Earth Alliance, they all know that Earth is a protected sphere under the quiet supervision of a vast interstellar coalition. And so this alliance, composed of highly evolved civilizations operating under universal laws, is said to have enacted long-term strategies that have been designed to ensure that humanity does not descend into catastrophic global conflict, particularly the one that is involving nuclear annihilation. Okay. The emergence of nuclear technology since the 1940s marked a pivotal moment in the Earth's history. I'm sure all of you guys already know that. From this perspective, the detonation of atomic weapons, which became a cosmic alarm and signal to the Federation, as it was then known, an energetic rapture that reverberated beyond the confines of the Earth into the broader galactic field, apparently caused, or what's the best way to describe it? It grabbed the attention of the Federation in the 1940s when we detonated the atom bomb. And ever since then, they've been literally on us, okay, since then. Because that moment signaled that humanity had unlocked a level of destructive capability that, if left unchecked, and it left to our own Earth governments without their intervention, guys, that would have led to the destabilization not only of the planet, but also the delicate energetic grid that connects our world with other worlds, as everything in the cosmos is connected. Okay, what happens here affects other planets, especially when we detonate something of that magnitude. So it is important to know that as things continue to escalate, all of this is leading to a solar flash, a shift, a trifurcation, a collapsing of these prominent 12 timelines into only 3. And this is the reason why since the 1940s, my friends, in an effort to preserve the positive Ascension timeline, the Galactic Alliance has responded swiftly, beginning in the 1950s, employing strategic operations that they implemented in order to monitor and influence and when necessary, direct neutralize nuclear capabilities. We had many instances like the Cuban missile crisis where Russia was sending an atomic bomb, a nuclear weapon of mass destruction over to Cuba, as the U.S. Navy was, of course, trying to trail it. The Russians back then, under the control of, I think his name was Stalin. It was under the communist rule, I believe. They were told to, of course, shoot some of the U.S. navies. And since then, the Galactics have been preventing what would have led to a nuclear holocaust in the 1960s during the Cuban Missile Crisis, in the 1970s during the wars in Vietnam, in the 1980s and 90s, all the way to the present. All right, for decades, there has been numerous unexplained incidents that have been cited as evidence of this ongoing effort by the Galactics to prevent massive destruction. So we don't have to worry about what's happening right now. Don't buy into the fear, my friends. Keep your vibration high and have faith that God is in control, okay? To give you guys an example, since the 1950s, all of these missile silos have gone offline without cause, right? Warheads, they have gone inert. And even entire nuclear failings at critical moments have also happened. Within this lens, they are deliberate acts of what? Containment, fail-safes that were enacted by an intelligence committed to preserving life on Earth. However, the situation is not portrayed as one-sided either, because despite the fact that the Galactics, how many times that they have disabled the nuclear plants, the missile silos, among other weapons, the human governments driven by geopolitical competition and the pursuit of power have continuously attempted to rebuild, replicate, and expand their nuclear arsenals. Nations such as China, Russia, and others have persisted in developing advanced weapon systems despite repeating unexplained setbacks. Now, this ongoing cycle, construction that followed by neutralization, it's like a cycle. Every time they built the weapons, the Galactics have to neutralize them, and then they go again and build them again. It is an ongoing cycle, okay? It has defined much of the hidden dynamics between Earth-based powers and the oversight of the Galactic Alliance. At the center of this intervention, we have Commander Valiant Thor, who is the main liaison between the White Hats, Earth Alliance, and the Galactics. And he is a high-ranking commander working within the vast or greater Interstellar Councils, who is in charge of making sure that the Earth ascends. Okay, so this week, Commander Valiant Thor, working with a coalition of interstellar commanders, Commanders Hatan, Commanders Corindor, Commander Athena, as well as Commander Soltek, they have played a direct role in the dismantling once again of nuclear threats across the planet, especially right now at the peak of the war with Iran. This dismantling is not limited to passive interference either. It is portrayed as an active, coordinated operation involving the systematic deactivation of the nuclear warheads, the neutralization of delivery systems, and the energetic rendering of such weapons usable at a fundamental level. The implication is profound, Galactic Jedis. While governments believe that they possess operational nuclear arsenals, many of these systems have already been rendered ineffective. through means that they cannot even detect or reverse. And that is a fact. And now, in addition to all of this intervention that took place in the last 48 hours has extended beyond hardware into the realm of global events and geopolitical outcomes. In other words, Commander Valiant Thor executed an emergency meeting with the leaders or the government of Pakistan, encouraging them to propose a ceasefire between the US and Iran in order to de-escalate the conflict that would have resulted in the event that Trump wiped out an entire civilization. Eventually, China would have joined in, perhaps even Russia. I don't think so much Russia because they're part of the alliance, but Russia would have jumped in, and it would have been devastating. I probably wouldn't be here right now talking to you guys if the Galactics would have not intervened as they did in the last 48 hours to create this ceasefire. And despite the fact that it is only a ceasefire for 2 weeks, and despite the fact that these governments are still disrespecting the ceasefire as Israel and Iran continue to attack one another, know that the Galactics are overseeing everything. And they are not very happy right now. They are not very happy with what's happening on the earth. Okay. So what happened in the last 48 hours was that the Galactics were influencing in subtle ways a way of taking over the mind of the Iranian leadership in order to agree on the ceasefire. Okay. That was a deliberate intervention by the Galactic commanders that were apparently working behind the scenes to shift what could have been a terrible outcome if, of course, Trump would have wiped out an entire civilization. Because we're also talking about the innocent people of Iran. Okay. So, in this regard, the current ceasefire observed in global tensions is seen as a strategically influenced outcome by benevolent outside forces, despite the fact that as of today, the Israeli governments and the Iranian governments are still not following it. All right. But at least, again, Trump was about to blow up an entire country as a result, if this wouldn't have happened. The commanders, recognizing the potential for escalating into a wider war, are believed to have intervened. Okay? They did it energetically, technologically, as they possess more advanced capabilities than we have, even within the private sector. All right? Some of these galactic commanders are operating from a Type 3 civilization, which is about 100,000 years ahead of us, whereas the secret space program is only 800 years. Go figure, right? So they did it to directly influence or indirectly influence and ensure that the events did not spiral beyond control last night. These actions aligned with what is often described as a prime directive, which is the preservation of life and the protection of a planet undergoing a critical evolutionary transition. Earth within this accord is approaching a threshold, a moment where its trajectory will determine whether it either advances into a higher state of harmony or collapses under the weight of its own technological power. Now, mind you, that the Earth has already collapsed under the weight of its own technological power, hence Atlantis and other civilizations. However, this time is different. This time, the Earth is meant to ascend. Okay? So that explains why the Galactics are intervening. They have to. It's part of their prime directive. So the role of the Galactic Alliance is not only to ensure the safety of this planet so that the Earth may proceed in her ascension, but the continual neutralization of nuclear capabilities. Guys, you don't think that these crazy scientists wouldn't reproduce these nuclear arsenals again, despite how many times the Galactics have dismantled them? Think about that. All right. So they had to dismantle them one last time in order to prevent a disastrous outcome. Now, the containment of global conflict caused by the subtle orchestration of peace, despite the fact that they're not respecting the ceasefire, are all presented as components of a broader mission. And that is to guide humanity through a volatile phase without stripping it of the opportunity to evolve on its own terms. These unseen guardians that are stationed around our planet, in our oceans, in our atmospheres, cloaked, of course, are only waiting for critical mass to reach its crescendo. That's it. So they will do everything in their power to make sure that we reach critical mass, because once we have enough people awakened, that is going to cause a massive tilt in the collective consciousness of humanity, which will allow humans to enter into a higher state of consciousness, which, of course, is referred to as Christ consciousness. So the Galactics are waiting for that. Okay. Now, the prevention of global conflict is also it's not really solely achieved through technological neutralization of weapons. It is also through a far more subtle and sophisticated domain, and that is consciousness itself. According to the Galactics, the Alliance, or may I say the Galactic Alliance, operates with an advanced understanding of mind, frequency, and thought. Can you guys give me 30 seconds? I'm going to turn on the air conditioner. It's getting extremely hot in here. Thank you guys for your patience. I had to go turn on the air conditioner. I was starting to get all sweaty here as I'm talking to you guys. All right, again, please excuse my inability to concentrate. A lot has been going on, not only in the world, but in life. But I feel like I still need to report on this. So, at the center of this concept is the idea of consciousness. All right, consciousness is not contained in the brain. Consciousness exists as a field, an energetic interface that can be accessed, influenced, and under specific conditions, gently guided. So the galactic commanders, having mastered this science over millions of years, are possessing or have possessed the ability to interface with the human mind through non-invasive means. This is not portrayed as control or domination, but rather as a form of telepathic suggestion, subtle impressions, intuitive nudges, and moments of sudden clarity that can appear to arise naturally within the individual. At times of heightened global tension, particularly when the risk of escalation approaches a critical threshold, these abilities are said to be deployed with precision by the Galactics. Political leaders, military officials, and key decision makers may experience shifts in perception under the influence of these commanders. The recent agreement that took place to a 2-week ceasefire is interpreted as one of those moments. And it seems like because they're not abiding by the ceasefire, they're slapping the Galactics in the face. So the Galactics are going to have to do something else now, okay? Instead of seeing this as a result of diplomatic negotiation, the ceasefire is viewed as a convergence of human and non-human influence. Galactic commanders, recognizing the volatility of the situation and the potential for rapid escalation, have intervened at the level of consciousness, amplifying the probability of peaceful outcomes by guiding the thoughts and emotional states of those in positions of power. They have the ability to do so. And they have for many, many years, okay? This influence is described as highly restrained and ethically governed. Instead of overriding free will, it operates within it, enhancing certain choices while diminishing others. Leaders still believe that they are acting independently, yet their decisions are subtly aligned with a broader objective, and that is the prevention of conflict and the preservation of stability. Complementing this external influence is even a more intricate layer of involvement, which is a long-term infiltration. According to Commander Valiant Thor, members of the Galactic Federation, now the Alliance, have over decades embedded themselves within various sectors of human society, including government institutions. Hence, Commander Valiant Thor, who actually lived in the White House for quite some time during the Eisenhower administration. These individuals are not always what they appear to be. Some are described as advanced beings capable of blending in seamlessly, while others are said to be incarnated souls, humans with origins or affiliations beyond Earth, who have taken on roles within politics, military, and intelligence communities. Now, working in coordination with what is often referred to as the Earth Alliance is a coalition of insiders committed to reforming global systems. These embedded operatives act as anchors of influence from within. They guide the policy, they leak critical information when necessary, and they help steer decisions towards outcomes that align with the preservation of peace. This dual strategy, external telepathic influence combined with internal infiltration by the Galactics, creates a powerful feedback loop. So when tensions rise, commanders can both influence the minds of leaders directly and activate aligned individuals within governments to advocate for de-escalation. And that's what happened in the last 48 hours. The result is a synchronized push towards stability that appears on the surface to be organic and politically motivated. The 2-week ceasefire, in this sense, is a strategic window, an opportunity engineered to diffuse momentum, allow for recalibration, and prevent a chain reaction that could lead to that will not lead to a broader war, in other words. It represents the success of a coordinated effort operating across both visible and invisible domains. And luckily for us, this suggests that the battlefield of modern conflict is no longer confined to physical space. It extends into the realms of thought, perception, and consciousness. And within that battlefield, the Galactic Alliance is set to operate with precision, guiding humanity away from destruction and not through force. All right? By influencing the minds of the political leaders whose minds have been under the control of the archons. Let's just be real, right? So they're overriding those archon entities who are the demons behind these, the warmongers, okay? So the galaxies have been guiding humanity away from the destruction through influence, alignment, and the careful orchestration of possibility. So at this time, my friends, despite of what's happening on the surface level, there are different layers to this ongoing operation that involves the liberation of planet Earth. Sometimes we just have to turn off the news because it seems like every time we watch television, more fear is put into us. And then sometimes we just have to go within and allow your higher self, your connection to divine source, to reveal the truth of what's happening. Now, I might have said this in past presentations or in other interviews, but I want to repeat it again, guys. The Earth has gone through so many cycles of golden ages and dark ages, golden ages and dark ages. Now the time is a little different, okay? Now the Earth is under a new dispensation. It has been stated that the Earth will no longer be plunged into another dark age. I appreciate all the love. Thank you guys so much. If you guys excuse me, I got to go get water. I'm sorry, I wasn't prepared today. I had a lot going on. Excuse me. All right, I'm back. So, as I was saying, Galactic Jedis, this time the Earth is not meant to undergo another downward spiral of cataclysm. This time, the Earth is meant to move up in an upward spiral of ascension. Now, the reason I say this is because a lot of the prophecies that have been preserved within the positive secret societies, the Great White Brotherhood, have all testified that at the end of time, that the Earth would undergo a great purification. However, they did specify that during this great purification, chaos, conflict would emerge. So a lot of this chaos and conflict that is happening is a result of a transitional world. The world is transitioning into a new age, period. So what we're seeing right now is we're seeing a moment where things are moving into a climax in order for them to break so that something new could take its place. So we are approaching a reset, but it's not a dictatorship type of reset, all right? It's not going to be the CBDC, the central banking global system, all right? We're talking about returning back to a gold-backed standard, QFS. So for those of you that are resonating with the positive timeline, with no fear, by staying in the moment, by holding the frequency, keyword, by holding the frequency, you realize that you are creating, you are preserving the positive ascension timeline. And I forgot to say today is the 8th of April, 2026. And yes, we are still on a positive timeline trajectory. So, now this doesn't mean don't be prepared, this doesn't mean don't have food and water for about 2 weeks. One of the things that I learned about being a Boy Scout when I was a kid, I think I was a Boy Scout for a year. When I was 14 years old, not a kid. I guess I was a teenager. One of the things that I learned is always be prepared. All right. So even though we know we're about to ascend, that something huge is about to happen, that the first waivers are about ready to hatch and activate their superhuman abilities. At the same time, we have to be rooted, we have to be grounded, and we have to be prepared. All right. And I'm not just talking about having food and water for 2 weeks. I'm talking about being prepared mentally, being prepared spiritually. Okay. Being grounded. Like a fortified tree that cannot be knocked out by wind. That's what I'm talking about, guys. Being prepared, fortified, grounded. All right. Since I do read the comments, there was some people that were confused regarding the Trump that was hit with a directed energy weapon inducing a stroke. I was not referring to the Trump that is operating in an undisclosed location, right? I'm talking about the Trump in the White House, which is one of the clones. I've already mentioned that 2 of the clones have been taken out. There's 1 left. That's why they had to preserve this clone. Okay, he's just there as a standing, just like J.D. Vance is a standing for JFK Jr. All right, so I have to confirm that the real Trump is an undisclosed underground facility, unbeknownst to everyone. The standing Trump was the 3rd Trump, was the one that got hit with a directed energy weapon. I just want to make that clear because some people were asking me, well, isn't the real Trump in Cheyenne Mountain? Well, the real Trump has moved from Cheyenne Mountain. He's actually somewhere else now, okay? So I want you guys to understand that there has been multiple Trumps, actors, standings, clones. 1 negative Trump that was created by the deep state cabal, okay? And that is the Trump that is about 5'8", chubbier than the 6'3" Trump who is the real Trump. So we have to understand, we have to see clearly what's happening here. What we're seeing here is just a show, Truman's Show, right? It's just the final narrative that is playing out before we shift ages. And that's what's happening right now. So, also regarding Project Bluebeam, yeah, it was in the plans by the cabal to fake an alien invasion by using their advanced holographic technology, their own flying saucers, and then blaming it on aliens so that they could enact a one world government. However, that timeline has also been canceled. Okay. I want to make this clear because there's a few people out there that still believe that this Artemis hoax was part of Project Bluebeam. All right. It's not part of Project Bluebeam. People are still talking about Project Bluebeam as if it's something that it is to be expected. Why are we even giving it energy? Thought, belief, consciousness creates. There will be no Project Bluebeam because even if the alliance, if the cabal tried to pull their last card, it would fail. First of all, it would fail because a lot of people have caught on to it, right? A lot of people know about Project Bluebeam. So they would just be like, hey, this is fake. These ships belong to our own government. right? There would be an uprising. A lot of people know. Secondly, the Galactic Alliance already mentioned multiple times that if they tried to pull their last card, as stated by Werner von Braun at his deathbed, that the Galactics would, of course, intervene and dismantle Project Bluebeam. All right. So what, let them try to initiate Project Bluebeam so we could see what happens. Let them. I want to see them try, because the moment they try, the Galactic Alliance will step in, which will, of course, give us an automatic disclosure because their ships would be everywhere. All right. Another thing I wanted to talk about, besides that Project Bluebeam that people are still worried about, we don't have to worry about Project Bluebeam, guys. I ended up getting a big coconut water. Another thing I wanted to talk about is the power of perception. I know that some of you guys have not taken my Ascension courses. See, the benefit of taking my Ascension courses is I go really deep when it comes to the quantum field, multiple realities, quantum shifting, the power. I describe the power of consciousness. I mean, I go really deep, guys, okay? And how perception molds and creates reality. So one thing to understand about perception is that, first of all, according to quantum physics, this whole thing that we see in front of us is an illusion. There is no desk in front of me. There is no fireplace behind me. It's all a bunch of empty space. The only reason it's there is because my body is interfacing with the energy field of this congealed matter. That's all it is. It's energy congealed to the point where it becomes matter, okay? In essence, since everything is made out of atoms, when you analyze the atoms, it's all empty space, okay? There is no matter. So, in addition to that, because there is no matter, there is only energy, by the way. Our perception, in combination with our beliefs, creates the illusion of matter. So the moment we shift that, the moment we start reprogramming our brains, rewiring it, right, unlearning everything we've learned, we begin to shift reality. And that is just a fact. Okay, that is just a fact. So, all right, let's open it up for Q&A, guys. Let's open it up for Q&A. I do have one super chat. This super chat is coming from Timothy. Thank you so much, Timothy, for your super chat. I want to welcome all 3,100 people that are in the house. Thank you guys so much for being here. I do appreciate all of you, by the way, and also those that watch on the replay. All right, if you guys have questions, please type them in capital letters so that I could bypass the chat. Can you explain how consciousness affects the whole of humanity, the planet, the solar system, and the galaxy? Please, for humanity's sake. Well, within the realm of metaphysics and secret societies, guys, all of the initiates, all of the adepts who have studied this deep science have always known that consciousness creates, all right? Reality, okay, put it this way. We've been lied to. Consciousness preceded matter, space, and time. Before there was the manifest, there was the unmanifest, which was pure luminal consciousness. That pure luminal consciousness, right, is what created the manifest so that it could explore more of itself. So it has been proven through a lot of scientific experiments that the collective consciousness, whatever is the predominantly belief system of a society, is what is gearing the collective reality for everyone. All right. It is what's molding the collective reality for everyone. So science has proven it. Every metaphysical literature has proven it. Control your consciousness, guys. Control your consciousness. Because there could be multiple people in one setting, and each one of those individuals is in a totally different reality than all the other ones. Because why? Because they have a different set of beliefs and they have a different consciousness. Okay? So, yeah, consciousness creates. Very good question. I do want to welcome Edward Wusick for his donation, Christina Rose for her donation, Susan Kay for her donation, and Jennifer Carter for her donation. Thank you guys so much. Alrighty, let's continue here with Q&A. Very grateful for you, Ishmael. You're welcome. During the 3 days of darkness and the 72 hours of sleep, who is going to take care of the infants and the toddlers? Good question. All humans will be asleep for 72 hours during the 3 days of darkness, both infants and adults. So even the babies, the babies are going to be transforming into their galactic bodies. People are saying, I don't trust Vance. Yeah, well, he's just a standing for, of course, JFK Jr. I don't trust Vance either, to be honest with you guys. Despite the fact that some people think he's a 2.0, I guess we're going to find out in the end when the arrests take place. Because I heard Pam Bondi was fired. Some people are speculating that they took her to Gitmo. All right, so we'll see. Next question is coming from Real Truth Lives. You mentioned Monday that if they had taken it out, Vance would have been sworn in. Oh, that's only if they would have succeeded in taking out the third Trump, which is, again, the standing. He's standing in for the original Trump, who is in an undisclosed location. Okay, next part of your question. But it's many of our understanding that JFK Jr. is playing Vance. No, that is not true. He's not playing Vance. So frankly, why would that be bad? I don't know where you heard that, but no, JD Vance and JFK Jr. are two different people. All right, two different people. You mentioned, all right, that's the same question. Next question. When we vibrate, this is from Patriot for God. Thank you for your super chat. When we vibrate from 5D to 4D, will our family remember us? Or are we just going into battle against AI? No, the battle with AI is not going to happen till the end of the millennium. So during the millennium, when you pop into the 4D reality from the higher dimensions, your family will recognize you. Yes, they will. And again, the last battle against Omega and the negative AI is not till the end of the millennium when the timelines converge again. Okay. Next question is Mr. Bike Trip. Thank you for your super chat. Is Zoom required for your courses? Yes. In fact, thank you for reminding me. All right, for those that are taking my courses for the first time, when you sign up for one of my classes, you immediately get a responding email. That email, you have to scroll all the way down, and then there's the Zoom link. So when you get that responding email, you scroll all the way down and there's the Zoom link. And then, of course, that's scheduled for either Saturday or Sunday at either 12 or 3. Okay. So just be aware of that for all of my new students out there that have taken my course. So, yeah, I just wanted to point that out because I still get a lot of emails from people that are signing up to my courses and are asking me for a Zoom link. And because I get so many, it's hard to go through them sometimes. So, and I don't know how to send an email blast. So I'm just letting you guys know here on my show that if you take a course with me, you have to scroll all the way down when you get that responding email. Okay. And that's where the Zoom link is. Are my moderators in the house? Yes, Wolf Mother is in the house. Anybody, Starcadian in the house? Well, thank you, Wolf Mother, for being in the house. And thank you, Carol, for your super chat. I appreciate that. Thank you, Noel, for your super chat. Is Trump leaving this year? There are a lot of rumors and speculations, but the alliance has him there until he discloses the truth about aliens. All right, so I believe that he has to fulfill that mission. I believe that in the secret records of the secret societies, they knew that Trump was going to be the one that was going to disclose the truth about extraterrestrials, UFOs, advanced technologies. So, no, I don't think he's going anytime soon. Is Joshua working with the Galactic Federation for Nasera Gesera? Yes. Joshua is at the head of the entire spiritual galactic councils. That's the best way to describe it. Thank you so much for the super chat, Woodwind. Is there still fighting going on in underground in Iran to gain control of the Stargates? No, that battle was won in favor of the light. So we did recuperate Stargate 10 Abaddon. However, as mentioned, there are 2 more Stargates that we need to recuperate in order to have a smooth and steady activation of the 12 Stargates, which will in turn activate the Earth's what is called crystalline living field, allowing the Earth to operate in multiple dimensions, in other words. Rose. So if the fake Trump dies or gets killed, why would the real Trump not be coming out? Because the real Trump is a target and he has to be specially protected. Okay, so yeah, we are down to the last Trump. No, 5D is like perfect weather. It's neither too hot or too cold. It's just like perfect weather year round. That is what 5D is all about. All right, next super chat from Diana Molina. I am exhausted all the time. I can't even meditate, she says. I try all the time. What do you recommend? You don't have to meditate for 30, 40 minutes. Try 5 minutes a day. So begin with 5 minutes a day, and then after a week, move up to 10 and see if that works for you. But yeah, you don't have to force yourself to sit there and be like, for 30, 40 minutes. No, just start with 5 minutes. That's it. And then just gradually increase every week. Good question. Next question. Nathan Taylor, thank you so much for your super chat. Is Tulsi Gabbard good, or is she a clone? You know, at this time, they're all hired by Casting Central. All right. A lot of these politicians are hired by Casting Central. Even the good ones are. Thank you so much for the super chat, Patriot for God. Fellow Lyran, you have provided us with so much clarity over the years. I love you, brother, and I can't wait to meet you. Likewise, brother. Even though I am positive we have already. That's true. That is correct. Thank you for all the vital information. Oh, okay. You're welcome. Thank you, Edward Wusick, for your donation. Appreciate that. And Christine. I appreciate that, Christine. Thank you. Thank you. Since Galactic Federation stepped in, will we ascend to 5G sooner than expected? Well, the only reason they're stepping in is so that there will be an ascension. So, yeah, the answer to that is yes. Now, as far as soon, I am not sure. All I know is that the first waivers are scheduled either this year or the beginning of next year, because by 2028, our Earth will already be in a totally different world. Okay. All right, guys. I'm going to end this with a little prayer. I'm sorry I have to cut it short today. I am extremely exhausted. I've been working a lot today, and I've only been sleeping about 5 hours a night lately. So I'm going to go ahead and just end this with a little prayer. I hope you guys all relax and get comfortable. In the name of the Most High, Yeshua, the Christ, in our collective I am presence, we ask that the earth be cleansed of all impurities, all evil entities, all archon forces, reptilian Stracos at this time. We also ask that the humans that are still playing around with weapons and war are dealt with. We also ask that the star seeds, the light warriors, and the volunteers receive their abilities and powers now. We also ask for the ascension of Mother Gaia, that it may take place sooner than later, because we are tired. We are exhausted. We need divine intervention. So we ask this in the name of the Most High, the Christ. Amen. All right, guys, I hope you guys have a beautiful evening, and I'll see you guys on Saturday for another report. May God bless you all. Or may the God force be with you all.